Okay. It's been that kind of day. Let's
That's
talk about
it.
some total wealth.
You know, the first day after a holiday, you know how it be.
Yeah, yeah. So, welcome to Empowered Educators with Ronnette Branham. We are committed to creating a vibrant and supportive community for educators. We have strategies, insights, stories, answers for you. So, I'm excited about what's going to happen today. I have my guest, Mr. Larry Paul. How are you today, Larry?
I'm amazing, Ronette. I appreciate you for inviting me on. I look forward to unleashing a whole lot of value today. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm ready. Um, can you tell us just a little bit about what it is that you do? Um,
Absolutely. So, the main, my main focus these days is economic development. So, working with businesses to set themselves up to run a little bit better. I also am on a lot of different boards. Like I'm on the board of our local NAACP chapter, and so same role, economic development for them. I also have my own charity called Culture Change, where we focus on financial literacy, um, park and street restorations, and community engagement, with a focus on helping reduce the drug and alcohol abuse epidemic that we're dealing with right now. So I have a full array of services and things that I do, but it really all revolves around financial literacy and helping our community.
oh yeah, you said a mouthful there. I I wasn't expecting all of that, but I'm glad that you are here for us. Our oh, hi, you hear that? I'm glad you're here for our community. Financial wealth is something that I know we talk about. We Everybody wants to be. Most people, I shouldn't say everybody, want to
Mhm,
be wealthy. I know teachers depend on things like pension and 403b's. We depend on that thing, on that stuff.
mhm,
I happen to have been privy to information about buying stocks and investing in the stock market. So I do have a little bit of something there, not
mhm.
retirement, but a little something in different places. So again, like I've talked to you before, I just want to let everybody know we sat down already and we had a recording and I couldn't take it. I'm like, no, this needs to be live. I don't want to record it. I want people to answer, to say
Mhm.
things because it's so a wealth. When you talk about wealth, you have a wealth of information for us and um, strategies for building wealth, and not only just building wealth, but wealth. I'm gonna let you talk about it because you have wealth as an all around person, not just financially. So, how does that work with you if somebody was to come to you and you offer your services?
Absolutely. So a lot of people I meet them at first because my background is in accounting, right? And so a lot of people I'm meeting because they're doing their taxes once a year, or if you're a small business owner, I'm talking to you to help you out with your bookkeeping services and things like that. And when I was younger, I used to think if I had a bunch of money, all my problems would be solved. Right. And in 2014, I became a foster parent and it was amazing. I made a bunch of money. My company moved me into their home, so I didn't have any bills. And it was just a level of financial freedom I've never experienced. Right. But as I'm living through that, I'm realizing there's days where I'm wasting my days. I don't know what to do. I'm not feeling well. I'm not coming outside like that, or going to connect with my friends. And I'm like, what is going on? And so, luckily, being a foster parent, I get to work with therapists and teachers on a daily basis. And so, there are times where I'm talking to my therapist who's coming in the home, and I'm like, Kim, I'm asking her questions about the kids, but I'm also kind of asking her questions about me. And as I worked with my therapist and kind of evaluated my kids' behaviors and things like that, I started to realize these are the same things that adults experience. We just grow up, right? And we mask it and we kind of put it behind. So I sat in my basement in 2020, May of 2020. My wife was bringing in our son. He was born on May 19th, 2020. And because he was born during COVID, him and my wife had to stay at the hospital. So I had a lot of days where I'm sitting at my home because I had to keep leaving and coming back. It was a weird situation. So I had days where I'm sitting in my home and I'm like, and then the George Floyd situation happens. And I'm
Oh,
like, I cannot just keep sitting here watching these same news, being a part of this when I have a son that I just brought into this world. So I prayed to God and I said, God, please help me solve racism, poverty, and police brutality. And when I did that, God responded to me and he said, you only got to solve one of those things to fix all of them. And so what I found out was poverty is lack. Okay. In a general sense, any form of poverty that we see is just lack. But God created this world of abundance. And so I started to think, where are we lacking at? And I found that there are 6 foundational areas where most people are lacking in one or the other. And I'm going to be able to show you, pinpoint you different people who excel in just one of these foundational pieces and they become successful. So so the first one was mental wealth. And I understood mental because we can recognize ignorance, right? When we see people who rent their whole lives and never think about owning property or being a part of that, right? That is just somebody who doesn't have enough information, right? And then we look at people like philosophers who all get paid to talk about what they know and what they learn. So mental wealth is just the system of learning to knowing to practicing to mastering. A lot of people think the point of learning something is just to know it. And
yeah,
no, that is not what we learn stuff for. We learn stuff to master it, right? Me and you have mastered the English language. There's not too many words I can say to you that you're not going to understand, right?
right.
We've mastered walking. I can't remember the last time I fell down, right? And so once we learn stuff, our job is to master it. And a lot of people stop at that knowing phase. And so it's about forcing yourself to become better because that's truly, if we're created in the image of the creator, we are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be as great as we possibly can be all the time. And you have to believe it in your mind first. And then what's going to happen is those positive thoughts hitting that mental aspect, it's going to have you feel emotions. So emotional wealth is the second foundation, right? And that's being able to not react off of your emotions, but to think when you have them, right? When I get upset, I can choose to hit somebody, or I can say, why am I so upset? Ask
Yeah,
myself another question and be able to really identify, because sometimes we're upset at things that only we are upset at, and the person who said those things probably didn't even mean it the way we took it, right?
right.
So a lot of it is just not understanding why God gave us emotions, right? And so luckily there's some amazing people out there. Abraham Hicks, Sadhguru, they give great teachings on how to understand your emotions, what they mean, and how to use them more as a GPS signal as opposed to something that controls you. You know,
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who have gone to jail because they didn't have emotional intelligence. And me being from Trenton, New Jersey, when I was 17, I was actually put in an anger management like center because I had a big issue with fighting and just being aggressive. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember just breaking down my emotions with this doctor, and he helped me understand them. But what he didn't do, the last question I remember asking him, I said, but I have a question for you. Why do I get mad? And and he said, you're getting mad because you're looking at things from your perspective. And I didn't like that answer at the time because what I was really asking him was, why did God give us emotions? Why did God give us anger if I'm not supposed to act like this? Right. And so I had to go kind of searching for those answers. And it's truly because we live in a world of contrast. So we have to be able to understand what we like, what we don't, And how would you know feeling good feels so good if you didn't feel bad sometimes, right? And
Right.
so that was really probably my biggest hurdle in life, truly understanding how to deal and interpret my emotions in a positive way. And these are things that I wasn't able to conquer until I was an adult in my 30s, right? So this is something that is an ongoing process that you have to practice. So the fourth and probably the most important to most people is financial wealth. And I thank God, my grandmother, I was 4 years old. She was a secretary at the preschool that I went to. We're driving to school, and my grandma always had a saying: if you said stuff like guarantees or this is definitely going to happen, she would always say there's only two things in life that's guaranteed: death and taxes. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember driving to school this one day, and I said, Grandma, who do taxes? And she said, accountants. And I said, I'm gonna be that. And she said, why? I said, because I'm gonna always have a job.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
my grandma was not a woman that was short on words, but for the rest of that trip, she was silent. And we pulled up to my preschool. And before we got out the car, she said, baby, that was one of the smartest things I've ever heard. Don't you ever forget that you said it. And so I actually knew I was going to get into accounting at 4 years old. Now, you say it over and over. I told my mom what I was going to do. So many of my friends indecisive in high school. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Man, I'm going for accounting. Like, it was just a thing. I didn't think about being a lawyer, a doctor, none of that. But what being an accountant taught me was the 12 financial principles that you have to have in order to be financially whole. Okay. And the
So
12, go ahead. What you say?
okay, so what I was thinking, I was hearing,
Mm-hmm.
because I got stuck at that mental wellness. And in order, because you said there's one thing that you fix and then you fix everything else. So if you fix mental wellness, that is going to help you work on everything else. Is
Yes,
that the reason
ma'am.
you said it first?
Yes, ma'am. This
Okay.
goes all in order because it's all supposed to follow a chain, right?
Okay.
And so we went through mental wealth, then we went through emotional wealth.
Hmm.
I kind of rotate the next two because I think they're both equally important, but I know that money is important to people, so I like to speak about that.
Yeah.
But truly, it's physical wealth, right? I have to be able to be here, right? If I wasn't healthy, if I wasn't in good spirits, if I was sick today, I would have called you and said, right now, I can't be here today. And you'd have been like,
Yeah.
Larry, that's terrible, right? So
Mhm.
physical health, being able to eat correctly, stay active, however that is for you. We have diets because there is no one way to eat. It's all about what your results you're looking for. If you're looking to gain more muscle, you're going to eat different than somebody who's looking to lose fat. And both of those diets are correct for what that person's outcome is. So
Okay.
yeah, and we have to stay active. We are a world of motion. If we just stand outside and sit still, we can feel the earth constantly moving. We're
Mhm.
constantly in motion. And so you have to be active. And the last part to being physically wealthy is tracking, right? You have to make sure you have a relationship with your doctor. Make sure you go to the dentist. Make sure you check your eye care, right? And you gotta track these things so you can know if you have to pay more attention to an area or not. So that's our first three: our mental, our emotional, and our physical. And so the big one, everybody loves the financial. So the financial, there's really only 12 things you have to know to become financially wealthy. Okay. And this is for anybody. This is not just for exceptional people, or this is for the teachers, for the school bus driver. This is for everybody.
Mhm.
The first thing you have to do is create a budget. Okay. Money coming in, money going out. That's all the
Yeah.
budget is. And
Mhm.
secondly, with your budget, there's actually two budgets you have to create. You have to create your budget for your money, but you have to create a budget for your time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And if you're going to do these things and say you're going to be about it, you gotta schedule it in your time. Okay. You got to
Mhm.
make time for it. Okay. So the first step is budgeting. The second one is saving. So once you do your budget, you see what you have left over. You can kind of start now working on your savings. You got your credit, because
Mhm.
once you start saving, you get a little bit of money saved up. You want to start building that credit, because now that's going to add almost 10 times what you have. So most lenders will give you 90% if you have the 10, right? And so having good credit is all about leverage, being able to have more than I truly have, right? This is why most people have mortgages. If we had the money, we would all just buy our house outright, but we go to the
Yeah.
bank so they can give us that mortgage, right? Debt. Debt follows credit. Debt is not bad. It is a consequence of using your credit. When I bought my house, I got into $300,000 of worth of debt. Okay.
Mhm.
So a lot of people hear credit and debt and think good and bad. That's not how it works. Debt is a reaction of using your credit. Okay. And it's actually a good thing, especially if you can make your payments on time. Whatever you promise your creditor that you would do, as long as you can pay it back, your debt is never really an issue. The next step would be taxes. Taxes affect all of us, and I think not enough people think about it until it's time to pay, right?
Yeah.
Most employees don't think about taxes until it's time to file the W-2, and most businesses, they only thinking about it because they mad they got to pay something, right? And so I like people to be preemptive about it. Think about your taxes ahead of time. Okay. So that's your financial foundation. Those 5 things I just mentioned, that's your foundation. You want to start there. So your budget, savings, credit, debt, taxes, that's your foundation. Now we want to get into growth. Okay. And growth is about investing. So that's when you put some of that extra money you were saving, and you never want to save too much. You can't save too much. You only want to save about 6 months to 12 months of your monthly expenses. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
your budget will show you what your expenses are. You save up, then you stop saving, you move to investing. Investing is putting money behind a business you believe in. So you hear a lot of people say, I'm in the stock market. All the stock
Yeah.
market is I believe in Apple, so I'm going to buy Apple stock. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think, they like to day trade. They like to try to do so many things with the stock market, but the stock market is investing is a long-term game. So if
Yeah.
you put money away and sit still over time, people who invest their money and don't touch it for 5 years have a 97% win rate. Okay.
Oh,
5 years. Okay. So all you have to do is not touch your money, and 9 out of 10, you're going to make money in the stock market. If you go with a company that's pretty dependable, right? Has
yeah.
pretty Amazon, Apple, all the good companies are who you want. Even if the stock is high, stay with the good companies. Okay. Second is starting your own business. So you can make a good living working for somebody, but you're not
Yeah.
going to be able to make a fortune unless you work for yourself. Okay. Working for yourself is going to allow you to control how much you make and how often you make. Working for other people is fine. I told you I love being a foster parent. I love working at AT&T. I loved a lot of my jobs in the past, but they all
Uh-huh.
had something where they were controlling my time or how much I can make. And I didn't like that. I want to be able to make as much as I possibly can, and go on
Yeah.
vacation 4 times a year, right? So starting a business, I know a lot of people say it's not for me. In the Bible, it says anybody that wants to get wealthy, you got to focus on thy own business. You have
Mhm.
to. Okay. So again, you can make a really good living, and 4 out of every 5 millionaires work for somebody else. So I'm not here to tell you don't work for somebody. I'm here to tell you also have your own business. Okay.
Yeah.
It's also that safety net. So we all went through COVID. If you're old enough, you went through the financial crisis in 2008. We've seen jobs just disappear, right? So you want to build that safety net with that business. The next 2 things are to help you with that business. Okay. So the first one is a mentor. Okay. And this is something that I feel in our community, the Black community, we lost because of the war on drugs, because of the jail, how many Black men went to jail, and then war, right? How many Black men signed up to go to war and just wasn't able to be at home. So we didn't really have those mentors like we were supposed to in the 80s and the 90s. And
Right.
and when I look at other cultures, it's almost the first thing that they do in business is they go and find somebody who is doing what they want to do, and they mentor and they sit under them, they listen to them, even though some of the things they don't agree with. Because 9 out of 10, that mentor has been through exactly what you're going through and can help you save time getting there. Okay.
Yeah, that's to me that has to do with I don't know how you say it without being like kind of negative, but
Mm.
sometimes we don't want people to know what we're doing. We think they're going to sabotage us, or there something along those lines, like where we are afraid to get a mentor or a coach because we have some kind of feelings toward it. I don't know why that is, but it's something
Yep.
in there.
It's a mindset of respecting authority,
Yeah,
in our community. When you think about how we respect police, when you think about how we respect parents in the home and things like that, just the level of respect for authority just hasn't been there. Now it can, and I put
yeah,
this onus on the men in our community. Our job is to lead. We are supposed to be leading our women and children, right? And so I can't we have to be the ones to be vulnerable enough to say where we lack and get somebody who can help us, right? That's a mentor. And I recommend you have more than one, because
yeah,
they may be good in one area, but they might not be good in the other. And if you want to be completely whole, you have to have people that are helping you be a totally good person in every facet, right? And so mentorships, and to pack on to mentorships, masterminds. So a mastermind would be like you, Ronnette, how you interview the educators. Now,
yeah,
what would be a good idea is for you to create a network of the educators who have came onto your program and just
mhm,
talk about best practices. What are you doing to make more money? What do you do with your extra? Where do you live? How much are you paying for rent? How are you teaching? Do you have any courses that you sell online outside of your school? Other things like that that will probably allow you to go a little bit faster in your pace. Masterminding has been my secret to truly having quantum leaps in business and in knowledge, because when you have people who are working every day on the same thing, it
yeah,
just makes your knowledge of that particular area grow leaps and bounds. When I think of this, I think of a popular YouTuber. His name is Mr. Beast, and a lot of people ask Mr. Beast, "What do you do? What did you do to build your channel up?" Mr. Beast is actually the number one YouTuber on YouTube, most
oh
followers.
really?
Yes, he's
Oh,
amazing.
my granddaughter said yes, absolutely. She heard you. She's the absolute number one. So
Yes, yes,
okay,
yes,
I
and
never heard of Mr. Beast. If I
yes.
did, I forgot.
Yeah, and listen, man, you gotta go and study him, especially now that this is on YouTube, right? Because
Yeah.
he tells you how he mastered, how he really learned to understand the algorithm of YouTube. And he had a group of friends. It was about 4 or 5 of them, and they would get online every day, record videos, talk about the metrics, talk about how many numbers the video did, what did they do, how did it start, how long it was. They literally broke every component down to where they
Mhm.
learn how to just make totally impactful videos, right?
Oh,
And so masterminding it's that secret trick that's going to help you. How can I say this? It's going to help you maximize that time. Remember, I told you you want to budget your time. Your
yeah,
mastermind is going to help you manage that time and get more value in that time. Okay. So those are your 4 growth principles. Okay. So that's going to be investing, business, starting your own business,
yeah,
getting a mentor, joining a mastermind. Okay, so that's your financial growth. And the last 3 is your financial protection. You guys are going to see once you start making money, it's even harder to keep it. Okay, so the protections, the first one is insurance. Okay,
mhm,
and all of the insurance, you have to have health insurance, life insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance. You got to have that insurance, man. It's going to take care of people in case you're not there or in case of a dire thing happening. I remember back in 2010 when my mother passed. I was 22 years old. Me, my brother, and my sister, they're a little bit older than me, but even still, we were very dependent on our mother's guidance. But what she did was she had a life insurance policy that none of us knew about. So when she passed, we were really stressing about how we were going to pay for funeral arrangements and what we were going to do. And luckily, one of our uncles was able to step in and fill that void in the meantime. But about 3 days after stressing, we got a letter saying that my mom had a life insurance policy, and me, my brother, and my sister were able to sustain ourselves and for a little bit as we were grieving, as we were going through this process, trying to take time off from work and handle our mother's business. And so
Yeah, that makes it so much the grieve you want to grieve, but it makes the grieving process easier. You don't have that weight on you that somebody who passed away had
mm,
life insurance to cover the expenses, because imagine having to ask people for money. You having to
mm,
ask, and nobody, people don't want to give you anything. They're like, you should have life insurance, right? So yeah,
yep, the GoFundMe, right? So many
yeah,
people use that as life insurance, and I see people get help from the GoFundMe. So I'm not here to poo-poo it, but
yeah,
really, like you said, we should take ownership of our future. And a couple bucks a month, $12 a month, if you're a healthy individual, 35 and younger. If you're a little bit older, the criteria changes, right? Because sometimes you might not have taken care of yourself or things like that. So it's best to get your insurance as early as possible and study up to see what's the best kind of insurances to get. I do have professionals that I speak with who talk to me about life insurance, who talk to me about health insurance and the best ways to go about them, how to use them for our maximum benefits. And so insurance, very important. The next one is retirement planning. If you are somebody that works, or even if you have a business, if you are going to leave that one day, you have to have a plan in place for the people who are running it. Now, if your plan is to just shut the business down and it's over when it's over, then that's your plan, right? But you have
right,
to have a plan, and you have to be willing to say that plan to the people under you, because that retirement plan is not just for you to be taken care of when you go, but it's for the generation that's behind you to have a good foundation for when you go, right?
yeah,
So that retirement planning is very important, not just financially, but just like I said, structurally setting your people up. And then the last thing is estate planning. And so we all know God brought us into this beautiful, amazing life, but we all owe God a death. It's going to happen. And so, I know the mass craze is everybody everywhere I go. Trust, trust, trust. I want to set up a trust. I want to hold a company. I want to trust. I want to trust in Wyoming or trust in Delaware. They're experts on trust. But if
yeah.
you don't have a net worth, if you don't have assets over $500,000, then a
Mhm.
trust really isn't the best thing for you, because trusts are pretty expensive. They cost money to be run, right? To have a manager over it, to have people taking care of the capital that's in there. So trusts are not cheap. And I do recommend for anybody that's looking to start a trust, open a trust, you want to wait until your net worth is over $500,000. So if you have a house that's worth 400 grand and then you have 100 grand in the bank, you can get into trust. You can do that.
Yeah,
But if you are not in that area, then you probably just want to hold off. A will do. Okay, so just have your will and just have what you want to have happen to your possessions when you're gone, because what it's going to do is it's going to preserve the relationships for your family. A lot of people don't realize when you leave and you don't give those directions, you leave it up to other people, right? Like probate, people that don't even know your family making decisions on it, and the government coming in and taking their cut. Or
that's so funny. When you say that, I start having flashbacks. My
yeah,
parents, my mom is living. My dad is too, but he's somewhere else. But
okay.
I start having family flashbacks where people were like, "That's mine. I should get that," or "This is whatever." If people just died, they just left nothing,
Hmm.
for no directives at all. So I keep freezing. That happened
No,
before.
you're okay. It's just happening for a second, but so you're good. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but no, that's something that happens in our community more often than not, because we're not prepared for the moment, right? Because I remember when I was 10 years old, my grandmom passed away. And my mother and one of my uncles got in a really bad feud for a couple of years over who would purchase my grandmother's home. Okay.
Yeah.
And so my mother was in position. She wanted to purchase it. She wanted to go with it. And then in the last minute, my uncle ended up coming in and taking ownership of the home. My mom did not like the way that it went down, and her and my uncle just did not
Yeah.
have agreement on that situation. And so my mom has 9 brothers and sisters. So you got brothers and sisters taking sides. It was just nasty. So after a couple years, they were able to kind of, calm it down. And it's funny, I actually seen that uncle yesterday when I was driving. He seen me and honked, and we talked for a couple seconds. But our culture goes through a lot of these traumatic issues, a lot of these traumatic memories and instances, just because we're not prepared. And we have to prepare for these moments. If it's your money, just say who you want it to go to. If my grandma would have left her will and said, hey, I'm going to leave the house to Gene, which is my uncle's name, then
Yeah.
my mom would have never had a leg to stand on, because my grandma would have said who she wanted to have and
Yeah.
take care of the house, right? But because she didn't, now 10 kids got to decide who's taking the home, who's going to take care of it, and things like that. So
You know what?
estate planning.
I think too, what happens, not now, but back then, grandparents' time, when
Mm,
they have all those children, because I'm really thinking about my grandmother once you said that. I don't think they want to choose. They don't want to choose, and then they don't have, they're not, that IQ is not necessarily there, but they don't want to choose because of feelings and emotions getting involved, and people are getting upset, and who's, the favorite, why did she leave it to her, not to me? She know I
mm,
needed it and I could
mm.
use it. She know if I left it to her, even though I wanted her to have it, I know she couldn't keep it. That's what we thought about my grandmother. I don't know if it's true or not,
Yeah.
but she didn't
No,
want to choose.
you're absolutely right, right? Like our grandparents were going through so many things. My grandma was born in 1929. So
Mhm.
she's seen World War I, World War II. She's seen Martin Luther King get killed. She had to fight so many battles that she didn't have the luxury of just being able to spend time on financial literacy, right?
Yep.
She had to provide for 10 kids in an era where they might not be treated right because of the color of their skin, right? So just different things that they was worried about. But I do think our generation is going to have to understand how to make tough decisions, right? Like
Yeah.
if you have 3 kids, what's the best one to give the property to, right? And a lot of people may say the one who has the least. But me personally, when I'm giving my recommendation, I recommend you give it to who you believe is going to maximize it the most,
Yeah.
right? Who's the person that understands it and knows if they're going to move somebody else in there to live in there and rent it out and split the rent payments with the other siblings, or if they're going to just sell it for the maximum value and split it up with everybody else, right? And so it's difficult decisions that have to be made, but we have to be willing to make those decisions for the betterment of the family. And guess what? When I'm going, it's okay to blame me. I prefer you to
Yeah.
blame me when I'm going instead of fighting with your brother and sister because y'all don't know what to do. You know
You
what I
know, it goes back to me. This is just me. It goes back to that mental wellness and that emotional IQ, before anything else. And I
mean?
understand why you said it first. That's why I thought you said it first, but
Yeah.
that it has to go back there. We have to be mentally able and capable of making decisions, right
Mm.
decisions for our family, for ourselves, because we're talking about wellness for ourselves before anybody else. So I get it. I can tell you, today you were talking about the masterminds. Today I was talking with my boss, and she was asking me questions about next school year. I know it's going to be 2024, but we
Yeah.
say next school year, that feels like a whole other,
Yep.
dimension or something. And I'm like, I let me think about that, because like you're putting demands on me already.
Mm,
I'm not ready to even just think about that. Like
mm,
I need the summer, because I don't want to make a decision on next school year. I don't want to do that. And that affects you, if you're not mentally ready for certain decisions to make. So finance, I'm I'm getting this because I'm talking to her too about masterminding,
Mm,
not about how you say it for me, for my benefit, but for our district, for what we are trying to implement, what they implemented last year.
mm,
It really has so many kinks in it that it really is not working, right? It's like somebody stuck a screwdriver in it for real. When they
mm.
say that, stuck a monkey wrench in it, it's like
Yeah.
that. It's not going to work the way they're trying to implement it. They need a mastermind of people getting together and putting their heads together to work this system out, because the system is not working. But yeah,
I
you
believe,
saying a whole lot.
yeah, I believe you just touched on something that our country needs to hear. And what that is when we see something that's a problem, we don't get to
Mhm.
complain about it. You get
Right.
together with the people that's qualified and you fix it. We have a
Yeah.
brain. Nothing else on earth has a brain like ours. We can fix anything.
Yeah.
Literally, we have built airplanes and cars. We have cell phones, the technology. We have unlimited internet real estate, right? Because we didn't tapped into things because we have a brain. And
Yeah.
so we just have to mastermind more. But I think masterminding is going to be a great way for people to see the good in people again. You know, I remember being, I remember 9/11 in
Mhm.
2001, right? And my biggest memory of 9/11 is how America came together afterwards. And I'm in New Jersey, so I got
Yeah.
some friends whose parents live in New York, and
Yeah.
it was so monumentous of a moment that it
Mhm.
made all of us come together. And I don't remember a time that was better than that. Like where everybody was able to talk. Now, you obviously had some people who started targeting Indian
Yeah.
people, Pakistan people, and we don't want that, right? But as a whole of America, we were so behind each other, so behind getting terrorism. We allowed George Bush to do a whole bunch of things off of that just because we were so together, right? And so
Yeah.
that's how we fix these things. Only way you guys are going to get a wrench out of that educational system is if all the educators get together and fix that thing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I what I love about the world we live in today is if you have mastery of a system or philosophy, you can be an educator, right? How many people do we know who have YouTube platforms and they educate on everything and they just use the disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, so please
Yeah.
make sure you check this information. But then they go on and they talk about anything they want to, right? Once they learn
Yeah.
about it, feel confident. So I love that we're because people are becoming teachers, they're going to have a better respect for teachers, you know, and you guys do a difficult job. So I appreciate it. And yeah, so we were talking about insurance,
Yeah.
retirement, and estate planning. And it's funny because that's the end of financial wealth, but
Mhm.
it's the beginning of generational wealth. Okay. And
Yeah.
so generational wealth in the Bible, it says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, right? So we supposed to be thinking 2 generations down. You don't even want to think about next school year, Ronnette.
No, you don't understand. She trying to take me back to where I started this school year at, and it stressed me out so bad. And I'm like,
Mm,
we have to fix some things before you ask me that. Like, we
mm.
have to fix things. Just put it right there and turn it on. Face it this way. Yeah, sorry about that. But
No, you
I'm
fine.
starting to sweat. I had the air conditioner and it was making too much noise. So I didn't want to, what the fan,
Summertime problems, right?
the fan is so, but I didn't want to. So what you're talking about, when you go back to that mental, we cannot be stressing teachers out because we don't have something fixed. And then we want the teachers to, we we have so many other things, finances, because a lot of teachers, I know there's other states in New York, they make a little bit more money, some
Mm-hmm.
places in New Jersey and California, but people, some teachers in the South and places, they get paid once a month. Some
Mm-hmm.
teachers, we get paid twice a month, and they're just now trying to catch up a little bit. But I just got a renewal for my car insurance. I'm calling everybody under the sun trying to change this car insurance because it's crazy. I'm like, who do you think is going to pay that? That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Do you add a car? and they act like the car, because of the car's technology, we're gonna pay for a claim in case it happens.
Mm,
Is that crazy? Is that crazy? I'm gonna pay for a claim just in case, and then you're gonna want a deductible. You already paid for it. So how
mm.
you? That's crazy. So talk about that. Mental health has to get you right for the finances, so you can make
Yeah.
informed decisions.
It's
Because
literally mental wealth is the most important factor because it determines if we're going to do anything or not. When I'm
yeah,
stressed out, when I'm depressed, the biggest problem is I won't do anything. I'll be lazy, I'll overeat, I'll cancel all my engagements with my friends and family because I'm just not in it. And so
yeah,
mental health isn't just about learning and knowing, but it's about knowing how to be positive in all situations, even when there's no reason to, right?
yeah,
And so a lot of times we get fixated on complaining, and that doesn't make us feel better. It's like somebody who smokes a cigarette, right? It makes you
mhm,
feel better for a second, but it didn't really fix anything. You still going to stress once you go back inside. You still going to have those same factors, right? And so it's about doing the work to truly understand what stress is, right? And what anxiety is, because a lot of times anxiety brings on stress, and
yeah,
and then understanding what faith is, right?
yeah,
Because faith is the positive expectation of a future outcome. Anxiety is the negative expectation of a future outcome. So
yeah,
when you know that you're causing yourself to have some stress because you're thinking about the future in a negative way, when that's not even how it could happen. It could happen completely different than what you're thinking about. So
right,
we literally cause stress on ourselves. And stress is a vibration. So
yeah,
you think you're getting a headache from stress. Every cell in your body is being affected by stress. It stress in the black community, the leading causes of death are heart failure, things like, and these are things that come from stress, from eating the wrong foods, which overeating comes from stress. Like I can
yeah,
tell you, stress is one of the leading causes of people dying in the world. And we don't realize it because we just deal with it, you know,
yeah.
and we think because we're dealing with it, we're okay. But no, we don't have to stress. We truly can decide that I'm not going to worry about this because worry is truly what brings that on, you know?
I know.
Yeah. And
I was listening to I think it was Jim Rohn, and
mm,
he was talking about act as if something doesn't bother you. And I was reading another book, like it's about understanding your emotions, how to you look at that emotion, you say, or that feeling, and say, okay, yeah, that got me upset. Now don't let it control you. Now you look at the facts. Okay, take that. I see it. That is something that could be stressful, but what am I going to do? Like,
yes.
that is something that I today was the day for real for me when I things are start coming. I'm telling you that insurance, you don't understand. That is like, are you crazy? You got to be crazy.
I'm
Just
telling you,
because of
man.
this car, I would have gotten this car, your brother. I would have gotten this car had
Mhm,
you gave me the right quote, right?
mm,
This doesn't. We're riding, and I'm like, this is the best car in the world. This car is fantastic. Is a Tesla, and it's
mm,
like you got to be. The people riding these cars are experiencing this,
mm.
and I don't. Then here comes the insurance. No, this is crazy. You got to fix this because I don't care what you say. I didn't even get in an accident, and you're
Yeah,
raising the prices because you gonna pay for it in advance. That's what they told me. You're gonna pay for it in advance. Like, are you crazy? Why would I do
yeah,
that?
yeah. These
And
these automakers and car makers, they're trying to adjust for the whole reason why people are making electric cars and going electric is to save money and save
right,
natural resources, right? And so
uh-huh,
what some of these companies are trying to do is say, okay, they're not going to pay as much in gas. Let's raise it up in insurance. Let's raise it up. Let's charge for the electric charge, right? You're going to see things that try that, but Ronnette, I'm going to help you out. There are some insurance companies that that do give you better rates. But when you're talking about some of the best cars in the world, like a Tesla, right? Me
Yeah.
personally, but before I got into a Tesla, I wanted to do a German car. So I got an Audi, right?
Mhm.
BMW, Mercedes. When you get these nicer cars, they just come with a higher price tag, right? And so, but here's the thing. I would say that's only a problem because if you were making $1 million a year, would you
Yeah, it
complain
wouldn't be a
about what
problem.
you exactly? So
Of course.
it could be one or two things that
Yeah.
cost too much, or you ain't earning enough. And that's when I say
Yeah.
start your business. All
Yeah.
right. Because then your business would pay for that. You wouldn't even be where your teacher's check that still go to you. You had that business pay for that.
I know I'm walking around. How I'm gonna pay for this? There got to be. We sell. We're gonna have to up this lip balm, and everywhere we go, we got to be selling it because it has to. It has to pay for that. It has to.
There
Like it
you
has
go.
to, and that will be uh wellness because you'll be relaxing knowing the business is paying for it and it's not stressful. Like for
Yeah.
real. Like
And
I like to go places.
think about any other expenses that come up. I mean, being financially free truly allows you to be free. And I know a lot of people don't think about it like that. But I just
Yes.
asked you, let's say let's just create a random person, and let's
Hmm.
say that they're working a $40,000 a year job and one of their parents falls ill. And in order for them to survive, they have to pay for a 250 grand operation.
Yeah.
Imagine how they feel when they hear that number and they
Hmm.
don't have any answers or anything like that, right? As opposed to somebody who's a millionaire and they hear that and they say, "Oh, okay, I get to save my
Okay.
parents' life," right? And so
Yeah.
being financially wealthy is not something that is an option to me. It's something that you have to do. It's required for your family to be on the trajectory they're supposed to be, but also to give you the true inner peace that you need. And now that amount always changes. Some people
Yeah.
amount to be wealthy 10 grand a month. Some people's amount
Yeah.
to be wealthy 50 grand a month. It changes, right?
Well,
But
it's not 50 grand a month. I tell you that right now. It's not that. I promise you, it's not that because it's not.
I
But
got you. I'm not
yeah,
I'm not I'm not telling you what your goals have to be. What I'm
no,
saying
I
is
don't.
there's people at different levels, right?
Yeah,
So financial wealth is important to everybody on every scale so you can continue to do what you want to do, right?
yeah.
It
It's
doesn't matter what that is.
there's a book I'm reading. Um, it's like How to Get Rich or something. I forgot what it's called. I can't think of it. But he's talking about you have to do things a certain way, and he says um, you can't do or be the best self that you want to be unless you have money. You can't because you cannot do everything you want to do
Mhm.
unless you have money. That's just it. You could say, we're talking about money, we're idolizing money. We're not. If you want to do everything you want to do for the people you want to do it for, you
Mhm.
need money. And that is
Yes.
true.
And I
For real.
and just to give the people on the show who might be starting a business or getting into business, there's four main principles that you have to understand in business for it to be successful. Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing is sales. You have to master sales. And the way to do that is understand that sales is service, right? When I worked at AT&T, yes, I had to sell cell phones, but when I made a sale, that person was now getting a piece of technology equivalent to a computer in their pocket. I start
Mhm.
teaching them about apps. Now they have a camera, they have a radio. You start to explain to them how that product can serve them in a way that it wasn't doing before they had this. And now I'm giving fair exchange, right? It's not that I'm just taking your money for anything. I'm taking your money because I'm giving you value, something valuable that's going to
Yeah.
help enhance your life. I know people that run complete businesses right from their cell phones, right?
Hmm.
And then I know other people who complain about how much cell phone costs, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just the mindset of selling. You have to think sales is service, and we all should be selling. The only reason me and you have clothes on our backs is because we went and bought it from somebody who was selling it,
Yep.
right? And so a lot of times when people think of sales, they think of the sleazy car salesman. You got to get that out your mind. When you think about selling, you got to think about a servant leader. This is a person that's here to serve you by
Yeah.
explaining to you how this purchase can transform your life. Okay. So sales. Number two, once you master sales, marketing. Okay. Stop being shy, people. Be confident. Imposter syndromes happens to everybody when we're mastering our skill. But
Yeah.
once you get those sales going, you're going to overcome that imposter syndrome, and then to get the sales to multiply, right? God didn't say go out in this world and add. He said multiply, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in order to go out and multiply, you got to market, right? That's social media. That's putting it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever people are is where you should be marketing your services, and try to do it organically until you make money from it, then pay for ads. Okay. Do not start off paying for ads first, because
Yeah.
it's truly a waste of money with no direction. You kind of want to know who your target audience is and kind of niche down to spend those dollars to go directly to them. The third thing, financial management. If you are not a person that's a wizard with the numbers, just understand you have to pay for one. You have to have a bookkeeper to track your transactions. Every transaction, when you buy something or when you sell something, it has to be tracked.
And
Financial
we
management.
have
Mhm.
not apps but little programs that we could do that.
Absolutely.
Like
Yes. All of these things that I'm saying can be tracked and can be done easily for you, right? QuickBooks. QuickBooks is an
yeah.
app that was really created for accountants. So a lot of
Mhm.
business owners use QuickBooks, but let's just say you're a salon, you run a hair salon, right? And you've become one of the best female barberistas in the city.
Mhm.
You do, your time is way more valuable doing a client's hair than taking a break from your work and doing your books.
Yeah.
Sometimes we try to save money so much it starts to be a detriment to our success.
Yeah.
You don't know any successful businesses that only have one employee, and so the goal is to grow. You have to
Yeah.
hire people, and there's different ways to do it now. Now you have the option of VAs, which are virtual assistants. So it's a lot cheaper to even hire people than it used to be. But as great and as powerful as we are, we cannot do everything by ourselves. You have to grow. You have to
Yeah.
hire, right? And financial management is that. It lets you know when you track your money, you see how much you got. You know when you can hire somebody. You know when you can buy something for your business. You know when you can give yourself a raise because you're looking at your numbers, right? And then the last thing is automation and delegation. I call it management, but it's truly automation and delegation. So using the apps, right? The programs, the
Mhm.
things that's going to automate your life. We have AI everywhere. And
Yeah.
delegation. Delegation is giving the people the information that you need them to do and trusting them to do it. When you hire an accountant, don't be all over his back. Let him do the
Right.
numbers, have him show you what he's doing, have him explain it to you so you can feel comfortable that you have it. But nobody likes to be micromanaged, especially
No.
when they're really good at what they do. So you have to be willing to give people the grace to grow and show you why they're good at what they do. I am not the only person on earth that's good at something. Okay. We have a lot of people on earth who are really good at things, and you have to allow them to display their gifts to the world as well. It's going to just help your company, right? I watch movies like the formation of McDonald's. And at the beginning, they didn't want to grow into a big corporation and have multiple stores and stuff. They just wanted to have their small store. But then another person came in and he said, "Hey, y'all keep running this. I'll kind of market this stuff and take this stuff on the road." And now we have McDonald's all over our world, right?
Yeah.
And so it takes people who are good at what they do to help you expand and do even more of what you do. And it's funny we've gotten all the way here because I know it's almost 7 o'clock. But
Yeah.
the most important factor that I feel our generation has lost and needs to get back to is spiritual wealth. Okay, and spiritual wealth.
And I almost let you go, right? Go ahead.
I, if you
Right.
have any
It
questions, if you
all
have
stems from
anything,
that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no. But spiritual wealth is about your relationship with the principles God instituted in his creation. So a lot of times when I say spiritual wealth, people go straight to religion. Well, what religion are you? What religion is
Yeah.
this? Nope. It's over 4,000 religions on earth. I believe they all have truth and principles in them. The only thing I think is not right is being an atheist, which is just not believing in anything, right?
Yeah.
Because what having faith does, what believing in a higher power does, is we're gonna hit moments where we say, I can't do that. I don't know how to do this, man. This is bigger
Yeah.
than me, right? And guess
Mm.
what? It is bigger than you. So instead of trying to put it on you or another
Yeah.
person, because if it was too big for you, it's probably too big for them. We need to
Yeah.
learn how to pray, how to how
Mhm.
to how to rely on the creator who does all things, who listens to all our prayers, answers them. But the
Right.
secret ingredient is faith. If you have to believe it. You
Right.
have to believe it. And so how you do that is trick yourself. If you don't have good faith right now, I'm going to tell you how to build it up. You trick yourself. You pretend every day that you have amazing faith. And what's going to happen is your daily habit of just feeling like you have that faith, becoming a believer. Eventually one day you're going to say it so much you're going to believe it. It's like that old adage, if you tell a lie too often, you're going to
You
start
start
to believe it. It's the
yeah.
exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. It works in the positive way too. So if you can share your experience, be positive, and be vulnerable, because that's what it takes to speak with God. You got to be vulnerable. You already know what mistakes you made. So it's
Already.
so funny that sometimes people don't be wanting to repent. They don't want to be honest, but see, God hears through the ears. So we
Yeah.
got to say these things out loud so the
Yeah.
God in us can hear it, our subconscious can feel it, know it, and
Yeah.
it starts to get programmed in there. And then it becomes a consistent habit. So again, to be a totally wealthy person, you have to have mastery of the 6 factors: mental wealth, emotional wealth, physical wealth, financial wealth, generational wealth, and spiritual wealth. When you master those 6 principles, you are truly an unstoppable individual. And it's funny because I think we all want to be our greatest self, right? And so if
Right.
there's a way that you could be your greatest self, I think it's at least worth trying, at least worth talking to people in the
I
community
know.
that's doing it, right? And so I challenge anybody that's listening today. I challenge you to think about these 6 factors and make improvements in your personal life. Okay, make improvements and challenge yourself for 30 days to think better thoughts, no negativity. Challenge yourself that when you get upset, when you get jealous, when you get embarrassed, do not react off of it and try to make it better. Just think, why did I feel that way? Be
Yeah.
vulnerable in that moment and understand emotions are temporary. Physically, get up every day and move. Do some jumping jacks, do some push ups, do some yoga, go swimming, go bike riding, go walking. It doesn't matter, but you have to be active. And don't just eat for taste, eat for nutrition. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if you talk to my friends, they're gonna say, Larry, eat any and everything. And I do.
Mhm.
But I have moments where I'm able to eat for nutrition and not just
Yeah.
eat for taste, right? And so there's sometimes I fast because sometimes it's better just not to consume anything and just let your body take that break. Some of the
Yeah.
biggest energy that we use is breaking down our foods. You know what I mean? And so, and
Yeah.
then going into financial wealth, guys, good people need to make more money. Okay, because money just makes you more of yourself. And if we keep allowing people without principles, without morals to make all the money, then us people who have the morals, who have the character, we are at their discretion. They can literally take jobs, they can literally come in, have guns on us, they can do anything when we cannot financially protect ourselves. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's very important that you take your finances seriously. And there's only 3 things any person on earth wants, and that's more money, more time, or more magic. The magic changes depending on who you are and what you want, but the money side and the time side don't. And that's actually the order in which you have to get in it. Money, making a lot of money is going to allow you to free up your time. Free up
Yeah.
your time is going to allow you to think, how do you want to impact the world? And then once you make that decision, you get to use that money and that time, don't making that magic. Okay. And so those are really the three main things all people want. Generational wealth, that's about thinking about future you. So a practice I would tell everybody to try is come up with let's I'm gonna say you're under 80. So come up with an age for 80-year-old you, okay?
Mhm.
And give that person a different name. So 80-year-old Larry's name is Solomon. Okay, King Solomon is my favorite character in the Bible. And so older, future 80-year-old Larry is named Solomon. And so there's times where I think, oh, I want to buy this. I can't. I got to think about Solomon. I got to pay for
Uh-huh.
life insurance. I got to pay for this. And separating yourself, we are selfless individuals. So many people who are broke are broke because they've done things for others before themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And so what you got to trick yourself into doing is turning yourself into a other. So you prioritize you. Okay. You deserve it. You have to take care of you in order to take care of others. Okay. And in the Bible it also says every good man it leaves an inheritance to his grandchild. Okay. So
Yeah.
we supposed to be thinking multiple generations into the future. And last but not least, spiritual wealth, build a better relationship with our creator, do it on your time. I don't believe anybody should go be pushing their religion on anybody. Now a lot of times our parents are the first people to influence us, right? So our
Yeah.
parents kind of build our foundation. But I challenge everybody, go and study, go and look up other religions, other faiths, and see some of their principles and surprise yourself with the similarities and a lot of them, right? I love Buddhism. I love certain components in Islam. And
Mhm.
Islam is one of the few religions where you can actually be with any other religion you want to, right?
Okay.
When I had to marry my wife, she's Christian. I had to. Now I didn't have to. I was raised Christian as well, but we had to devote our lives to Jesus Christ in order to get married, right?
Yeah.
And so that could have been an issue if I had a different faith, right? And so
Yeah.
it's not about what religion you're practicing. It's about the principles and the morals that those are guiding you through. Okay, God created this universe with automation, and that automation is his principles. Okay, I recommend if you want to get really in-depth teaching on the kingdom of God, you guys go and study up on somebody like Miles Monroe. Um,
Yeah.
Miles Monroe is like my favorite speaker on the kingdom of God, and he brought so much understanding to me that I didn't know. Like Jesus Christ has always been my favorite character in the Bible, until I learned King Solomon was about that money, right? But Jesus Christ, you find out his biggest oppositions was religion and government.
Yeah.
Biggest oppositions. Jesus wasn't preaching a religion. He was preaching how to be a citizen of the kingdom of God.
Kingdom. Yeah. I was studying my told like series about living in the kingdom. So yeah, I see we're up at to 7 o'clock.
Hmm.
I thank you so much. And one thing, you see the guy Che who commented, that's
Yes.
the guy that I said, you two, you talk about a mastermind. You two need to get together. I'm talking about a conference of wealth conference.
Hmm.
You two got it. You two got it. I don't know if he's still on there or not. If he is, he's probably laughing. But yeah,
so
for
so
real.
Ronette, what I would say is, the best way for me and him to meet is from you, because
Yeah, look,
that
look.
that
Absolutely, Shay. I got you.
absolutely.
I got
Yeah.
you because that. I mean, he. What you're saying is what he says, and then to have a workshop or conference or a day something. That's it right there. I mean,
Well,
that's it.
I will tell you, Next Level Speaking Academy, we are planning to have a wealth summit next year in about March in New
Oh,
Jersey.
really?
And so we are looking for people who are local in the area, who have been doing the financial literacy work, who want to be a
Really?
part of that overall wealth discussion, not just about business, about real estate, about opportunities in general, right? And so we do have plans. Ronnette, I'm gonna actually put the onus on you to get
Uh-huh.
me and Shay and anybody else that you think would be great. Let's get us together, man, because this is the power in numbers. This is unity right here. And I
Yeah,
want to work with anybody. What I go through life searching for is my kind. Okay,
that's
my
your kind right
kind
there.
is the people that think like me and who have that vision like me, right? And
Yeah,
so that's
he's
what I'll
helped
be
me
looking
so much.
for, and I can't wait to connect with more people like that, man. So
Yeah,
that's
he's
awesome.
helped our community that we're a part of.
Hmm.
I'm talking about everybody who hears him. Like he's helped everybody in our community. Like really, just with budgeting. And then when he talks, he gets into it deeper like you do. So again, it's after one. It's after I said after one. It's after the hour. After the
Hmm.
hour, and I appreciate you so much. And I put on here where I'm going to put it in. I think I put it in the on YouTube already where we can find you
Yep.
at
Yep. You can
what
find
happened
me.
to it?
You can find me on Facebook under Royalty Financial Services. You can find me under Larry Paul. Same thing on Instagram. You can find me on Larry Paul underscore the second, and which is on the screen. You can also contact me through email, which is also on the screen. My mission is to eradicate poverty. To me, poverty is a choice, or really, it's a result of ignorance. And I would really like to educate the people who want to be a part of ending this. We do not need homeless. We do not need people dying from starvation. We live in a world of abundance. Okay. And
No,
so anybody who's about that mission, please connect with me. I would love to work with you. And also, if you are on the nonprofit side, you can find me at Culture Change 2020 on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Culture Change is where we do our most impact in the community.
oh, okay, culture change. Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got one more comment. Oh, okay. So he said he just followed you. And I don't know, I think you followed him too already, right?
Yeah, I'm about to say if I didn't, I will. So
I think you already have. I think you
we
already have.
definitely we definitely going to connect, man. But Ronnette, I want to appreciate you for having the courage to create a platform. In order to get great at anything, you have to start with messy action. Okay.
Yeah,
So a lot of
yeah,
times we think, oh, this ain't perfect, this ain't that. No, everything you doing is perfect, and keep doing it. Okay. And one thing I would say is the next time I come on, I would love to do it with Shay. So if we could kind of, because the first time I seen you do a video, I seen you have on a few different educators in here, and I
yeah.
love that conversation and how it was going. And I am not the end all be on financial literacy. I believe learning is a forever thing. All right. So I'm here to keep learning. And I love the books that you drop. For anybody, Atomic Habits is an amazing book, Spiritual Capitalism. And then I can't leave without saying this, the Bible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I thank you. And yes, Chad, you heard that, Chad. Yeah, I don't know why I never asked him. I don't know. I see he's doing things and then I don't know what happened
That's
because
all
he's
right.
perfect. Because I told you, I had a few financial people on already.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, I don't know if that's what we need, but evidently we do. Evidently we do need to know about total
Yeah.
wealth, period. So I'm not gonna start talking again because then it's gonna be 7:30. I have to pick my grandson up. So thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming. And
Yes.
again, this is Ronnette Branham with Empowered Educators and our guest Larry Paul. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank
Great.
you.